Hello everyone, welcome to Automate with Kaj, where we simplify industrial automation. On today's episode, I'll be acquainting you with the ControlEdge builder. So get your pen, paper, laptop, and ControlEdge builder ready. Let's get started.
So after you've had ControlEdge Builder installed on your PC, open the application. I have it here. You can see that ControlEdge Builder. Or if you can't find it on your desktop, just click on the Windows button, then select all apps. Definitely your Windows might not look like mine. I just love mine this way. So scroll to Honeywell and you'll find it bulk configuration ControlEdge Builder. So click on it to open the ControlEdge Builder application. So this here is the interface of the ControlEdge Builder, or what you can call the home page of ControlEdge Builder. Okay, on the home page you can see different toolbars, okay, that are available for you to use for your configuration. Okay, the first we can see here, this window here, is where you can create a new project. All right, where you can create a new project. The second window here, you can open an existing project, and the third one, you can connect to a controller, perhaps to maybe monitor a running program or to update a running program, or even to upload an archive project in order to monitor it. And they also provide a quick start guide on how to do this. We also have at the top of the ControlEdge Builder these toolbars. Here you can create a new file. So instead of creating a new project here, you can do that here, or select this and see new project. You can open an existing project just as with this. You can delete project and other functions that are here. You can do edit. Okay, if your program you imputed something undesirable in your program and you need to change it, you can use this, or you simply press the shortcut keys that are here. This is to help you open or close a specific toolbar. Okay, so say for example now I want to turn off, or I want this to go off. I click on this. Okay, look at this ControlEdge configuration window. I turn it off. You can see the configuration window is no longer here. So in case it happens to you that, oh, by mistake you closed it, just come here to open it. Okay, then you have this project toolbar where it has the features to add libraries. Libraries are written code. Okay, you can create a library yourself, as you can see, a user library, or use the one that's provided by Honeywell themselves. You can add data type, add POU, we'll talk about this, and other functions here. To compile your project, the build toolbar is your go-to. Here you can make, you can patch, you can compile, you can rebuild projects. If you notice there's something wrong, you can stop your compilation. If you are debugging, go to next error, go to previous error. Okay, here for online, you can actually monitor your program by clicking on debug. Project control is to turn on, it's a small control for the PLC during debugging. So whether you're using a physical hardware or you're using a simulator, other functions here. So everything we've talked about are also here. Okay, you can see the messages, edit wizard, X references, watch window. Watch window is important. We will talk about this in future tutorials, so keep it in mind. You can write it down somewhere. Okay, so now let's create a project, okay, and configure, or let's create a project, okay, and get ourselves familiarized with the configurator. So I create a new project, and the next window that comes is shows us the available template that has been provided by Honeywell on ControlEdge Builder. Okay, this template is what will serve as the block, the building block for our configuration for a specific type of controller. Okay, so the first template here is 900 CP1, and this is for the 900 family of controllers. And these are called PLCs, ControlEdge PLCs. All right, there's a difference between the 900 family and the RTU family. The RTU family are under the 2020 controller. Okay, so you can apply this to both redundant and non-redundant controller applications. Now, the next one, which is SCUCMX02, rather 01. Okay, it's part of the family of 2020 controller. These are the RCUs. So this version is for the non-redundant controller, and the 02 is also for the non-redundant controller. And the SCUCNN11 is the redundant controller. So for our tutorial, we're using the SCUCMX02. So click next. After selecting it, okay, make sure you select it. Next, and it asks you to save. So you can call this my Modbus project. You can give it any name you want. Then save, and then it's going to save the project. Okay, so this is the interface for the template we have just created. Okay, as you can see, our project name is called my Modbus project. All right, you can see the firmware version R174. Remember, in the previous video, I told you I'm using version 174 of the ControlEdge builder, and this is the controller I selected, UCMX02. This drop down gives us the ability to change our controller. So we can actually select this. Remember what UCNN 11 is? The redundant controller. Okay, over here we also have the download button. After you're done with all your configuration and you have compiled and everything is fine, you don't have any errors. Okay, you can click the download button. If you are probably done with your configuration or you finish your editing, you downloaded, you're done today, or you probably opened the wrong project. Maybe you open my models project 2, you can come and click on this small button and go back to start page. If you need to upload projects from the controller, you select the upload project from controller. And if you need to do bulk downloading, you select this button. In another video, I will explain what this bulk downloading is all about. Okay. So let's explore these windows and see what they can do for us. Okay, what we need to do on them. So for the controller and programming, you can actually set controller name. By default, the name provided here is new RCU. You can give it any name you want. You can also name it based on the site where you'll be installing this RTU. Okay, so let's leave it at new RTU since we are doing a tutorial. You can configure controller startup. So what this means is when there's power to the controller, what will be the condition of the controller? Will it be running or it will be stopped? That is what this is all about. And there are four options that are provided here: last operating mode or running after an abnormal stop. This setting is normally used for the non-redundant controller. Okay, while this is used for the redundant controller. Use running and stopped for the ControlEdge PLC. So we click OK. You can also configure our Ethernet ports. Remember in the previous video, I explained that we have two Ethernet ports, port 1 and I told you to keep it in mind. Well, here we are again. You can see there, Ethernet 1, Ethernet 2. There is also Ethernet 3 and DNS. What is Ethernet 3 and DNS? In another tutorial, I'm going to explain what they are. Okay, so let's select Ethernet port 1. So we can configure the IP address for Ethernet port 1 and protocol binding. Before I configure the IP address, let's talk a little bit about protocol binding. What is protocol binding? Well, in very simple terms, what it means is that this port 1 that we want to configure, what is it going to do? Okay, right now by default, has been configured to work as the controller configuration protocol. So what it means is when you connect to the controller, what it does is it allows you to be able to connect the ControlEdge builder and connect to the controller. Okay, that is what it is. You can actually select other functions. Now you have the DNP3 outstation, DNP3 master, Modbus slave, Enron Modbus slave, Modbus TCP master, MQTT protocol, HART IP protocol, wireless IO, IEC 875.104 outstation. Very robust. Okay, you can select them. For our case, we are doing the Modbus TCP. Okay, so I select this Modbus TCP master. Then I give an IP address. This is the IP address that comes by default. Okay, on the ControlEdge reader. Of course, this is not what we want. So imagine you want to store this on the site and the IP address is completely different from this. We both know that there won't be any communication between the RTU and the field devices. So we need to change to the IP address that is within, or an IP address that is within the subnet to that subnet. So for tutorials, we'll use this IP address 192.168.1.50. Okay, and we'll give it a subnet of 255.255.255.0. If you have a gateway device, you can also put the IP address here. Okay, and then we save. Okay, then port 2, we also set the IP address. Now, when I was doing this some other time, I had an error. When I set the IP address to .51, okay, and I tried to save, it gave me an error. It said validation failed for parameter, primary or secondary IP address. Primary/secondary IP address cannot be the same. What does this mean? First of all, let me save this. I need to show you something. Let me change it to 52. Then I save. It's going to work fine. So let's go back to our configuration homepage. So remember I told you that if you click on this drop down, you will see the redundant controller. So let's select redundant controller. See, the operation will reset the existing DNP3 mapping table, which we did not create, so there's no issue here. Okay, so you can click yes. Okay, so now you're going to switch to the redundant controller configuration. Okay, so if you notice something different in this controller programming, you can see configure controller redundancy. So that means this window we have here, the difference between the redundant and non-redundant controller is that you can actually configure controller redundancy. You can enable it and you can disable it. If you enable it, it will allow the controllers to synchronize. Okay, but that's not what I'm here for. So what I want to explain is this. So on the configure Ethernet port for the redundant controller, you can see two IP addresses that we need to configure. Primary controller IP address and secondary controller IP address. Now, if you look at Ethernet port 2, you can see the IP address I put 192.168.1.51. That is why it was refusing accept that configuration. So I can just, you don't need to do anything here. I just wanted you to know this. Okay. We are not working on a redundant controller, we're working on a non-redundant controller. So go back to SECMX02 to ask for that. Figure out warning again. It doesn't matter right now for now. Okay, it matters when you use the MP3 mapping table. So take notes. Okay, and you click yes. So we're back to a non-redundant controller. So we've set our port to .52 and we've set the protocol for what Modbus slave. And we save. Okay. Well, that's just about it. For Modbus CP master, that's just about it for the configuration. But let me tell you a little bit about the configuring all this. You can configure the IO and communications. You can configure IO. So what this gives you is that you can actually select specific IOs that you want to use. You don't need to use everything. Okay. It gives you that flexibility. Okay, you select it and then you bind it to a variable. So let's say this variable, I want to say this is for my temperature sensor. Temperature sensor This is invalid name temperature sensor. We can add it. So you can see it has bounded to that variable. Let's go and look for the variable. Let's save this. Let's see how it works for us. You can go to the IEC programming workspace. You can click on this button here or here, program with IEC 61131 3. All right. Then we come to global variables. All right. You can see this global variables. When we open global variables, you can see the variable created: temperature sensor, data type, analog input type. It's in what global variable. So you see, nice, right? Very simple. You can configure wireless I/O. There is also a device called the wireless I/O, third-party I/O, certificates, SCADA mapping and protocols. SCADA mapping and protocols is when you need to configure the RTU for Modbus slave communication. Fabrications, you can configure and upload data logs, electronic flow measurements, advanced applications. You can also view the diagnostics under this via diagnostic window. You can view system event log. You can save those logs, and you can also see your last login info. You can do this only when you are connected to a controller. It will come up with it will display a different color, about I think green. You can upgrade your firmware. So say for example now your boss buys a controller and you connect it. You're probably using a 174. So but your controller is version 168. Now you need to know that the version of ControlEdge builder you are using has to be the same version of controller. So if you connect a 174 controller to a 172 ControlEdge builder, you won't be able to do any configuration. Okay, so that means it's either you downgrade the ControlEdge builder to match with the hardware, or you do a firmware upgrade so that you upgrade your ControlEdge builder to work with the controller. One of the two. You can also reboot controller. This is only available when the controller is online. You can reset to factory defaults. You can configure the time, change password, replace the card, publish to Experian. Experian is their own version of HMI. Yeah. That's for this page. If there are any questions, if there's something that I missed, please feel free to put it down in the comments below. Kindly subscribe to my channel, okay, and turn on the post notifications to get more videos. So this is that about it for this homepage of the ControlEdge Builder. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to navigate the IEC programming workspace. Thank you very much and see you next time.